I'm a great believer that we celebrate the sort of similarities, but we learn about the differences in the way they help us do business, help us open sort of opportunities for each other, help us combine interests and generate success stories as a result of that. One of the key things that was always a driving force behind me as an entrepreneur and as an investor is that if you are an entrepreneur and investor, you actually have social responsibility to make the right decisions and not only return money to the investors and the investment groups and the VCs that have invested and recognize the opportunity, but you also have the responsibility towards the society. You have to problem solve. You have to bring something new, a value add to the table. You have to empower and educate your workforce. You have to make some tough decisions when you have to let people go, because there are times when the company outgrows the staff, or the staff outgrows the company. And it's important that business cannot be taken personal. I've been mentoring young entrepreneurs, young investors for a long time, and I still occasionally run so-called business surgeries where basically these young entrepreneurs come with their challenges and their problems, and then we try to sort of help them get from A to B to C to D. One thing education is still struggling with, but I'm happy to see that there are more and more industry people getting into education, is to actually be able to translate the real life experience via the textbooks and prepare the students for the real life once they've graduated, once they're out in the competitive working environment. So every decision I made in relation to who I go in business with, which vision I'm joining if it's not my own vision, because I'd like to think that when joining forces and recognizing another entrepreneur's vision and wanting to add value and help them achieve it is basically the way one should run their life and recognize the opportunities. We on our own are, pretty meaningless in terms of what we can achieve. The achievements around us, including me, are always down to the teams of people that you work with, you inspire, you motivate, you encourage, you empower to achieve and get the best out of them. And if you can be the leader that recognizes the potential, that is there when the people are struggling, and is able to articulate the challenges to the investment groups and the boards at the times when they are also looking to make tough decisions, I think you're doing the right thing, and you are on the road to success.
So I would like to hear, how do you cope with these big achievements and eventually one of the things that you had actually to learn that you're not expecting?
Well, I was going to add that, of course, no achievements and no success comes without lessons learned. I'm a great believer there are no failures in life, only lessons learned. And this is what I teach my children as well, that only those who try and only those who learn could eventually succeed. And I've made many mistakes. I've made mistakes in who I go to business with. I made mistakes in sometimes trying for too long and not making decisions on when to exit the business or actually shut the business down, because not everything you think of, no matter how much effort and energy you put in, is going to work for various reasons. It may not be nothing to do with you, your capabilities. It could be due with the market conditions. We're seeing now with what's happening in the crypto market, and we'll talk about that a bit later on. Lots of people panic. I felt, recently in the last couple of years, it's been a huge challenge for the entire world. I think people being locked down for prolonged period of time was a particularly sort of negative impacted their mental well-being. And I think having learned at a young age that the expectations of something to end soon by actually not ending and prolonging for months and then years has taught me the power of patience, the power of tenacity, the power of the the continuous belief and the half full rather than half empty glass. Because if you have a choice to think positively and negatively, my view is that you might as well think positive. If you have a choice of thinking big or small, and you're consuming the same amount of energy, you might as well think big. Even if you don't achieve all the things you set out to achieve, you will probably achieve so much more if you are ambitious, if you are committed, if you showcase the sort of most difficult skill actually to acquire. It's not just a characteristic, it's patience. If you manage to draw from your so-called difficulties and challenges, and what most people will call failures, which I repeat, call lessons learned, you basically sharpen yourself, you improve your character, and you improve dramatically a chance of success. So I have seen over the past 2 or 3 years, lots of people who have not coped well and who are just now coming out of that very, very dark place, and who have had to cut down, shut up their entire operations, and they are struggling to recover. I've also seen this hybrid model of what you're talking about. How do we motivate the workforce now? I'm actually, just like in the retail sector, I'm a great believer of online and offline. I'm a great believer that the engagement and the experience you can offer in the basically offline capacity, whether it's in the retail sector of the high street shop, massively improves your chances of online success when it comes down to sales and the KPIs and the bottom line. I'm also a great believer that in now this real attempt of the corporate world to cut down on expenses and remove as much of the office space as possible, many are making a mistake, because you cannot possibly motivate and inspire your teams just online. I think that physical touch, the energy flow, is incredibly important for the success of any organization today. I think the online and the COVID times have taught us that we don't need to, at the same time, rush to every meeting face to face, travel the world for the sake of a single meeting to find out that that was not a fitting partner, fitting customer, and a worthy meeting, having spent thousands of pounds and dozens of hours on the flight and in the sort of hotel accommodation. I think, again, with the experience of 80s and 90s, with the experience of a number of recessions that I've been through over the past 25 years of being in business, I hope I'm a smarter, wiser, and more experienced in being able to add value in everything I do,